Jon McClure fronts Reverend and the Makers, one of the most interesting and inventive indie groups. They came out of Sheffield 20 years ago, and Jon is a key player in that city's music scene, with a deep interest in its heritage from Cabaret Voltaire to the Arctic Monkeys. He gives us his breakdown, what he's been listening to, reading and watching in the lockdown for Underground Shoes. Okay, so this is John Robb here, doing the latest lockdown interview for Underground Shoes with Jon McClure from Reverend and the Makers. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, John. I'm all right, mate. Not too bad. I've had a bit of a up and down few weeks mentally, but I'm getting there, mate. Feel all right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying you're on a bit of a health kick to get you through this.
Well, I've smoked since I was 15, 14. Smoked weed for almost as long, and I've kind of been off Class A's for a few years, 3, 4, 5 years since I had kids, but very occasionally. But yeah, I read about Corona affecting smokers, and I have anxiety, man. I was just like, I don't need this shit in my life. You know what I mean? This is not cool. So decided to knock me smoking on head, which is weird. And I were a bit of a monster for a couple of weeks because I've been craving a fag, and obviously Laura and my wife had to bear the brunt of that. But no, I feel good, mate. I feel good. I look at you and I think, this geezer's aging backwards. You know what I mean? And I think I look at all my kind of rock and roll mates who still get right on it, and they look absolutely dreadful. So I think it's time to get on your tip, mate, and have a bit of clean living for a minute.
Best bit's your mind, get clarity. Yeah. I think it's
and I found oddly, I used to think the creativity came from the drugs, but it doesn't. It comes from within, doesn't it?
Completely.
Do you know what I mean? I used to I think Pete Doherty, remember talking to him about that, and he'd kind of, I don't want to talk on his behalf, but he definitely constructed this narrative for himself that the creativity and the drug went hand in hand. And I think I maybe told myself that for a long time, particularly with regards to weed. You know, that it kind of, I can't do it unless I'm stoned. I've never wrote a song without being stoned. But maybe that's a good thing. You know, it's a new me, a new avenue I've not explored. You know what I mean?
It's a total myth. I mean, Charlie Parker, the jazz guy, he said that heroin actually ruined his playing. You know, he died when he was 39 for a start, and he wasn't as productive as he could have been. Like you say, the talent is already inside you, isn't it? I think the tragedy of Pete Doherty is that he'll be remembered as being a rock and roll junkie, and people forget what a great talented songwriter and lyric writer he is.
And a beautiful human being, actually, as well, when he's not on drugs. You know what I mean? And I think, I remember Jarvis Cocker saying in that Britpop documentary, and there's Damon in there, and Noel sat in a throne. And then they interviewed Jarvis, and Jarvis is like, you never hear anyone say, Auntie he been a lovely lad since he got on them drugs. You know what I mean? And I've always thought, yeah, you know what? Fair enough, Jarvis, you're right. So yeah, mate, it's time for a bit of clean living, and we'll see what that brings. But hopefully this Corona thing will be over soon, mate. We can get back to normal service being resumed.
I think it'd be a different kind of normal. I think, some stuff will get better, some stuff will be worse. I think it'll be a mixture. It won't be the same.
Yeah, and I think maybe we might start, what I hope to think is we might start to appreciate each other a little bit more, and maybe people will start to appreciate those in society who actually matter. You know, obviously I'm a massive lefty, as are you, and we've been banging the drum for the NHS and that kind of vibe for a long, long time. You know, every single member of my immediate family worked in the NHS, and extended family similar. And obviously breaks your heart when you see what Tories have done to it. And you hope to think, in this country, people will start to value your primary care workers and your bin men and all that sort of stuff. So let's hope it'll be a boon for creativity and all, mate. That people will be doing cool and interesting things as a result.
Have you been creative in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, a little bit. I started making these videos where I were collaborating online with other artists, and I thought, this is a bit everyone's doing this. Gary Barlow's doing this. I can't be bothered. So I started to do a thing where I was getting ordinary people to sing, and I've been pursuing that a little bit. So I've done a video with my mum,
was
And my
absolutely
mum's
brilliant.
singing.
It was so fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, went viral. What a terrible phrase in this day and age. But
yeah.
lad out of like One Direction tweeted it, and it went like mad. It went on telly and that. And then I've done another one with my cousin who's a nurse, right? And she's in NHS uniform. And that, again, I've only done 2. But I quite like the idea of like letting other people sing and like giving a voice to people who are like we don't normally hear from in some way. I think that's almost more valid than hearing like Jason Donovan jamming with Gary Barlow. Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, who's bothered? And I quite like the idea of like ordinary people shining for a minute, because I think it's like not in like I don't mean it in like an X Factor way, but you know, like the kind of written art narrative of music. A lot of time, ordinary people, and we expect musicians and rock stars to be extraordinary. And it's the ordinary people who are kind of saving our lives and keeping us going at the minute. And I think there's something in that, you know.
Yeah,
so
we've become very superfluous. That's what I was thinking.
yeah. And the only skill I've really got, music, and even that I'm fucking good at. You know what I mean? Like, all I can do. So I sit there and I play guitar and I let them sing, you know, and like I just doing it with my mum were interesting, because it's my way of staying connected with her. My dad had pneumonia. We've not seen them for even longer because of Corona, and my dad had pneumonia. We thought he was going to die at one bit. We hadn't seen him for 2 months, my mum and dad. And it's like my way of keeping connections. But I think it also says to other people, you know, who are missing their parents or their family, look, you can find a way of staying connected to people. You know what I mean? Because it's very strange times, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really odd. But actually, I wouldn't do yourself down as being a musician, though, because in a way, on the other side of the coin is a lot of people I know who work in the NHS, like hospital porters, nurses, whatever. They say the role, especially you, because you've got an audience, that you're actually working in making people feel better mentally, you know, and so you're actually, in a weird way, you're like an add-on to the health service, you know. Your music, getting somebody through this, that's important, you know. Like Sean Ryan today, all Sean Ryan did was swear for an hour, utterly hilarious, and Twitter's full of people saying that's the best I felt for 3 weeks. The genius of Sean Ryan, isn't it? You know, we're not doctors, but our bit is different. We're the clowns, the entertainers, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, me and Laura have been doing a live stream from our front room, and she cut me hair, right? And we had like 60,000 viewers. Mental, like, you know what I mean? Like, as like proper numbers. And we were just listening to his albums at first, and then she'd give me a skinhead. And like all these people tuning in, and like you said, people like, oh, that's cheered me up and all that. And listen, I'll do all if it puts a smile on people's face in this day and age. I don't think now's the time for like being achingly cool and hip, is it?
No.
You know what I mean? It's time to just. Oh, are you there? Sorry.
No, you're back. Yeah.
I don't know what I did. I think I did a swipe or something. Yeah, it's not time to be cool, is it? You know what I mean? It's time to entertain people. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think we can. I never really thought about it like that. You've made me think there that a kind of additional thing to the NHS is people's mental health, isn't it, and keeping people's spirits up. And I'm not going to lie to you. I was doing well with all that, my role as an entertainer, and then last week I had like a mad wobble, and kind of went. I don't want to go into it, but someone in music game like said something did something dead horrible to me, and it like spun me out for a bit, and then I just got myself in a right like tiz. So I've had a week where I've kind of had my head up my arse a bit, to be honest. And it's weirdly, it's culture what gets you through, innit? My brother made me realise he used this metaphor of a candle, which we aren't going all Elton John about it. He was like, when you were doing them videos with my mum and with our cousin who's a nurse, he says, your candle were bright, and that's what you've got to think of what your role is and stuff. And my brother gave me a right talking to. So he's like reset my mind a bit, like, of late. So that's my new vibe is to keep people's spirits up, John. I reckon that's me.
Yeah. I mean, like, I wouldn't even overthink it, because everyone knows you're not doing it for an ulterior motive, because that's what you've been doing for 20 years with the band anyway. You know,
I think there are some out there who like sense opportunity in this in some way. You know what I mean? And that will worry me. I thought like I don't want to appear to be capitalising on this in any way, because that's not. I'd feel terrible if that's what it were about. But like, my brother were having me on. He were like, "Listen, you know, you just need to be like a Poundland Vera Lynn, don't you? Do you know what I mean?" Like, so
God bless Phil,
yeah,
because that was a great. Now you understand how great that song was at the time. You know,
unbelievable, mate, unbelievable. And you think about, you know, I mean, the war thing is overused in it as a metaphor, but
yeah.
you think about the role of culture in times of strife, and it's so important. It really is. It's so important, and it's only that sometimes what power. I mean, I don't want to make out I'm Gandhi or something, but I've had a couple of messages of people like, of at course at band, you know, your music prevented me doing X, Y, and Z, or turned me life around, or whatever. Last couple of weeks, I've had loads. You know, people like, thanks for what you're doing, really got me out of a bad headspace, and blah, blah, blah. And you just think, it's powerful shit, isn't it? Really is powerful stuff, you know what I mean?
One person, it's worth doing. You know, if it's
There
more than
you
one,
go.
fantastic, isn't it? And speaking of
Absolutely.
that, putting it on the other way around, the culture is getting you through as well. Because I guess the culture is getting you through can help you understand your role for what you do. You know, what music are you actually listening to at the moment? Are you listening to music or?
Yeah, a little bit. I've gone on a bit of an exploration of kind of Sheffield music, actually, because I've been working with, which I'll come on to in a minute. I've been working with a lad called Dean Honer, who's in a band called Moon Landings, used to be in All Seen Eye. Dean's amazing. I've been doing a project which I'll tell you about. There's 5 things I'm going to tell you about, right? But Dean, me and him started to talk about the kind of heritage of Sheffield, being your kind of, you know, your kind of foundation city for British electronica, right? I live very near to Salter Lane Art Campus, which is where Cabaret Voltaire, the Human League, Artery, a lot of them bands started there, right? And we're very proud of the fact that Sheffield, as a city, arguably started the electronic movement in this country, right? So I've been delving back into a lot of Sheffield music, actually. I mean, I've been listening to new music, as I always do. Baxter Jury's album this week is something that's given me a lot of joy, because I love Baxter's stuff. I think he's great. But my friend bought me this, and I've just got back into this. So I'm going to like get into a bit more of this stuff. It's the Cabaret Voltaire Attic tapes, 74 to 78.
It's amazing.
So this is literally the first experiment with synthesizers, really, in kind of in so much as we understand electronica in this country, and just done in a flat. I mean, I can see the place where it was done, actually, across the valley there.
It's always amazed me that completely on their own in Sheffield, 1974, no audience. They were sat there inventing modern music in a flat. It just seems it wasn't London. It wasn't like Summer Dead Flash, LA, New York, a little flat in Sheffield. And Sheffield wasn't a cool town like it is now. You know,
no, I mean, there's a in the Cabaret Voltaire Greatest Hits, Wolfgang from Kraftwerk says, "To my brothers of the electronic folk tradition." And so you've got this kind of industrial, unfancied place, a bit like kind of the Ruhr, Dusseldorf, all that. Weren't the trendiest place by any stretch of the imagination, but some weird synergy between the electronic music and the heavy industry. And weirdly, that area in Sheffield have had this kind of symbiotic relationship ever since, to the point where we're twinned with Bochum, right, which is right next door to them. But I mean, speaking of, I've worked with Richard Kirk before. He's done loads of remixes for me, and he's a great fella. But I got into the Testone stuff as well recently, through Dean Owner. Dean kind of introduced that to me, because I knew about it. I knew about the early Warp stuff, but not really, because it was a bit before my time. And what I realised is when Manchester had the Hacienda and there was that kind of piano house thing were massive all over the country, we had a kind of music called bleep, right? Which is totally, again, divorced from anything else that were happening at the time. That track, Sweet Exorcist, Testone is his thing. I think it's him and Parrot, I think, one of the other lads from Sheffield. But yeah, that's been really interesting to me, and it feeds into the second thing which I'm going to tell you about in a minute, which is that idea of like Sheffield as an innovator. And I came through during Britpop, right, which was a period which set in motion what Simon Reynolds calls retromania, right, which is this harking backwards all the time. And I got really into this guy, Mark Fisher, who's a social theorist. I don't know if you know Mark Fisher's work.
I've written books, yeah.
Right, K-punk and all that. And I started to realise recently that Cabaret Voltaire and the Human League were the last people in my city, maybe Jungle a little bit, to do the future, to attempt the musical future. And I started to have like these sleepless nights where I'm thinking, fucking hell, every piece of music I've ever made is retro. Everything. So I went to the University of Sheffield. This is now moving on to the second thing that's culturally I'm into. I went to the University of Sheffield and I said to them, look, I've got this kind of thing that I'm working on, and I'm kind of a bit worried that I've always done like retro music and music that harks back, because I got into music in Britpop, which were doing the 60s, right? And so cut a long story short.
Your phone's gone funny again. It's just your name.
There you are.
Yeah, carry on. Yeah.
And to cut along, I'm gonna have to plug this in a minute, John. To cut a long story short, we've made some generative software. Brian Eno's helped us a bit, and Robert from Massive Attacks helped us a bit. But Dean and I and the University of Sheffield have got a load of generative software that's making music. And for the first time, I would say in my career ever, we're trying to do something that's like not really been done that much before. And it feels we are aping what Cabaret Voltaire did or the Human League did. We've tapped into that spirit of trying to go forwards rather than sideways or backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second thing, which I'm finding, it's very early days, but we've got a program that generates lyrics and beats and music, and it's got different brains that you can fit it with, that neural network stuff that knows different things. And it's changing the method.
Because this is it's interesting because I talk about this now in this period, because this is in a period where people doing conversations like this, we're operating 10 years in the future within 10 days because we have to. And it's interesting to soundtrack this. I don't mean do songs about the virus, but soundtracking this really odd period where the rules changed, didn't they? So you can see where the future's going to go sat here now, can't you?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and I think like it feels like we're living in a dystopia, doesn't it? I mean, those of us that read extensively about this kind of thing, and I'm a bit of a doom merchant anyway. I've been pretty sure a pandemic's coming for a long time. Like I weirdly found a message that I'd sent someone 2 years ago because I typed pandemic into my WhatsApp messages, and that was what came up. But a pandemic will get us first anyway, or something I said. So yeah, this music perfectly encapsulates the time, and I just need to have a minute to sit and kind of separate it out into kind of pieces of music, I guess. But it's really interesting, and Dean's really like helped me a lot. He's as obviously Allsee and I were an eye monster were two kind of things that he did, and Moon Landings are a great band, but he's like a bit of a innovator anyway, and a guy who's well versed in that kind of Sheffield electronic tradition. He's made albums with Jarvis and Richard Kirk, and obviously he's made a Human League album. So like he's really turned me on to a lot of that stuff. So yeah, mate, it's exciting, and on a musical level, I guess that's where the head's been at really. And I don't know what I'm doing with Reverend and the Makers other than making songs with my mum sat in a kitchen, which is a 180-degree switching it from that. But I don't see why you can't exist in two. I can exist in the present, the past, and the future. Why do I have to choose? You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the future.
You there, John?
That you don't have to be in a band, the old school thing, or operate in an old school way. You can make music with mother, make strange beats, do experimental music. Oh, you're jamming up. think it's your phone's jamming.
Yeah, let me just get me just 2 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, that's cool, yeah.
You there, John?
Yes, still here. Still recording, actually. Yeah.
Wait, should be sound now. Wait a sec. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, pal.
Yeah, all is cool. Yeah, so that's your music that's been getting you through. So,
Yeah. And then I got some books that.
What books have you been reading then?
So someone bought me this, right? Which anybody that knows me knows I'm a big fan of Jamaican culture, the music, the island. I've visited there several times, and made an album there. And so someone bought me this. It's by Marlon James, and it's a brief history of 7 killings. It's nominally about the attempt on Bob Marley's life in the mid to late 70s, and how this. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I've been running.
You'd be all right.
The CIA basically possibly had some involvement in Marley's killing because they kind of considered him to be a revolutionary and possibly steering Jamaica towards communism.
Mm.
This is obviously in the kind of decades following the aftermath of the Cuban Revolution, and they didn't want another kind of large Caribbean island going over to communism. And so it's written kind of from the perspective of the street kids who were charged with the task of trying to shoot up Bob and his family. And when you go to Hope Road, to Bob Marley's house, you can still see the bullet holes in the wall.
Wow.
And Rita Marley, who I've met, has got like a hole in her face where the bullet entered her face and went out the other side. And they didn't kill Bob, but it's about the cover-up and about kind of what happens to the people who did the killing, or did the shooting rather, because they don't think anybody was actually killed. But it's unbelievable. And this guy, Marlon James, it's his 3rd book, but it won loads of awards, won the Man Booker Prize. And the way he writes is like Faulkner, like the way he kind of describes violence, and it's all sort of really like lyrical, and it's almost got like a rhythm to it, which sounds incredibly cheesy, but just really, really cleverly written. And I would recommend it to anyone. In fact, when I did my hours exercise the other day, I passed the bloke who was sat on his front step reading it. So I said to him, listen, I said, that book's amazing, mate. I said, you must read his other 2 books. So he's only written 3 books, this lad. He's relatively young still. He's a dread. He's a Rasta. And his 2nd book was this one, The Book of Night Women, which is set a lot earlier than the previous book. And it's on a plantation in Jamaica during kind of the 1860s, maybe. And the way he sort of describes the fusion of like old African beliefs, so beer and all that sort of stuff, and Christianity and all that kind of thing. And particularly, again, the way he talks about violence, and in particular sexual violence kind of perpetrated by the colonial authorities and the plantation owners against the women out there and the people. But it's just really, really clever. And I'm a bit obsessed with the way he writes, man. It's unbelievable. And his debut novel was a lot shorter than that. It's called John Crow's Devil. John Crow's are massive birds of prey, which kind of hang in the air when you go to Jamaica, over like rubbish dumps or whatever. They're kind of the precursors of doom. And it's about set in the 1950s and about kind of spirituality and how Christian beliefs influenced Jamaican culture. So yeah, I've been reading that. I'm just a bit, you know, like you get really into an author and you just want to read everything that they've ever done.
It sounds amazing. It's interesting. I do the Christianity running through Jamaican culture, and even the melodica, playing those tracks, because they used to have them in the at the schools, didn't they? Religious school.
Yeah.
That's how the melodica ended
Well,
up Dub's favourite.
yeah, well, like the scatterlights and stuff. We're all taught to play. We're all taught to play like at religious schools, and obviously,
The teacher.
you can hear that. Yeah,
I did every year in Liverpool. They have a reggae festival, and I do all the chair all the panels at it. And despite the 88-year-old teacher was actually on one of the panels. It was amazing. I mean, I think, wow, you're the person that started that thing. She was like the music teacher or something.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing music that comes out that small island is mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think like there's never really been an author that's captured that really rich, evocative culture. Because when you go over there, a lot of them are scared of the old beliefs, you know, the African beliefs. They're like, they fear it. It's like because obviously voodoo's the state religion in Haiti, which is not so far away. But Jamaicans, especially old Jamaicans, they're scared of the kind of African things. And some of that up in the hills is still practiced and stuff, you know. But the way that, like, in that night women was, some of the like the women who work in the kitchens and the colonial houses and stuff, they still like practice the old religion. They go out into the forest and like mix up herbs and all this sort of stuff. But just, I mean, the Seven Killings one's one of the best books I've ever read. It's just amazing. And it's really unapologetically patois. It's not like, you know, like often culture's sort of watered down to sort of please a wider audience. And I've always sang in my own accent, and I think things are stronger when they're in their own voice, aren't they? They kind of have an authenticity which is difficult to replicate. But he's a really talented boy, this Marlon James. He really is like a kind of modern day Rastafarian take on Faulkner. That's how I'd describe him. So yeah, I mean that's been me reading. That's my reading vibe.
Watching? You doing a lot of TV or box sets or?
I don't want to be one of them people who goes, I don't really watch TV, because I do watch TV. But Homeland is my TV show, John. I've stuck with that show for a long. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, with telly, because you can articulate things in long form, can't you? In a way that like you used to be able to do. You'd have to condense it all into like 90 minutes or whatever in a film. But I mean, Homeland's it's incredibly well written, and Claire Danes is that lead character. I really identify with her because she takes pills to sort of mitigate her moods, but when she doesn't take them, sometimes it offers her inferences that like she wouldn't otherwise have. But like, it's just incredibly well written, and if you're willing to suspend your disbelief enough to kind of go with it, it's incredibly powerful. I also really enjoyed Virtues, which, I mean, Walk Films are still in Sheffield. Mark, who's the head on show there, he's a good pal of mine, and Niall. And they made Virtue. I don't know if you saw that. It's
I know it, yeah.
Shane Meadows' kind of really personal journey into his own repressed memories with regards to like some really awful stuff that happened in his childhood. Stevie Graham in the lead role. Incredibly affecting television, actually. I'm a bit like, I'm a bit one of them who like tries to resist watching certain things. You know, like everyone's into that Tiger King, aren't they? And I'm like, oh, fucking won't watch that because everyone is. And I probably will at some point, like, you know, but I don't know. I try not to do too much television because I feel like it's obviously a golden moment for television, isn't it? But it's almost like it's a bit too much to pick from sometimes. It's a bit like, do you know what I mean?
Well, also, if you're a creative person, those 3 hours, you kind of need them, don't you, to do stuff? You know,
well, this goes on to my fifth thing, which is the fact that Laura and I are homeschooling our children, right, who are 2 and 5, and that's been taking up quite a bit of my time. And I don't want to leave that entirely to Laura because it doesn't feel like fair to leave it all to Laura. So me and the boys made a solar system this week,
Look at it.
which is up my ladder. I'm going to show you, John. Get on this. So,
yeah.
Going into my little mezzanine, which I've done my attic out. I need to finish it off, right? But there's my old footy, which is the sun.
Yeah.
Mercury, Venus. I mean, get on the Earth.
Yeah. And there's Mars. They're not scale size or distance, though, are they? Have you got?
Well, it's very difficult to make a scale model of the solar system, isn't it? Because of the kind of, I mean,
we got weeks.
Ice giants would be like somewhere on the other side of town near my mother's, wouldn't it? But there's your gas giants.
Oh no, that's mega. Oh yeah. Oh, that's the coolest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's my fifth and final thing today. They've got like a plastic golf set, right? So I made some holes in a cardboard box and painted them, and we had a little kind of golf putting game thing going on. And yeah, it sounds bad, doesn't it? It's like, you know, mid-70s John Lennon, kind of just being a parent and you know, thinking about that, how that is as the creative thing, and just being hugely enjoying it, actually. Kind of just being a dad, it's all right to just do that for a bit, you know what I mean? And I sometimes think I'm quite fatalistic. I mean, I think with this a moment when I were like being forced to slow down and to take stock and to just be like, hang about a minute, this is a moment you need to spend with your family and to just be a parent and be a dad. And I think that's all right sometimes.
Yeah, there are.
You know, I've made 6 albums.
Yeah.
I've made 6 albums, 7 albums with Mongrel Thing. I've had a good career and continue to be really successful. And I think like maybe I just need, it's all right. They're important years, these first years of kids' lives. And I'm teaching my big lad to ride his bike. You know what I mean? Like really formative things. And I think like, it's all right. So yeah, I do the afternoon shift because obviously I'm nighttime. I'm trying to create, like playing the guitar and mech stuff and mess about on my laptop. So like Laura does mornings and then I get up at dinner time and crack on my afternoon shift.
Yeah.
Which suits me.
Yeah.
That suits me down to ground job.
Yeah.
So yeah, mate, that's me. That's what I've been doing, pal. And yeah, do you listen? If I could guarantee everybody who everybody could be all right, I'd almost be quite enjoying this period in a weird way. So, you know, when I read this article the other day when it said when you've got anxiety, as I have had all my life, it's almost, you weirdly almost feel happy when there's something like this happening because it validates your fears. It's like